Hey boys and girls, so as promised, I said that I would do a little video for you all with me reading the Bumpy Little Pumpkin, and this is the book I'm going to read before we do our unique pumpkin. Little Nell lived with Big Mama, Big Sarah, Big Lizzie, in a great big house in a great big woods. Look at that. Behind the great big house, there was a great big garden. And a great big garden, there was a great big pumpkin patch. All summer long, Little Nell had helped her family water and weed so that the pumpkins would grow big and orange for Halloween. When Halloween finally came, Big Mama called Little Nell and her sisters into the kitchen. "It's time for each of you to pick a pumpkin to carve," she said with her big blustery voice. "Me too?" asked Little Nell. "Me, you too," said Big Mama. So Little Nell followed her sisters out into the pumpkin patch. "There were so many wonderful pumpkins, it's hard to choose," said Big Sarah. She picked up a tall, skinny pumpkin. "I think I like this one," she said. Big Lizzie picked up a round, flat pumpkin. "This is the one for me." But Little Nell couldn't decide. She walked back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, looking at all the pumpkins. Some were big, some were small, some were crooked, some were tall, and none were just right, but none were just right. At last she came to the end of the patch, and there sat a bumpy little pumpkin all by itself. "This one's my favorite," said Little Nell. "It's bumpy and little and ugly," said Big Lizzie. It could have a nice smiley face," said Little Nell. "No way," said Big Sarah. "How about this nice smooth one instead?" "I like the bumpy one," said Little Nell. Big Sarah and Big Lizzie rolled their eyes. "We're taking our pumpkins inside," said Big Sarah. "You keep looking till you find a bigger and better one," said Big Lizzie. "And then we'll help you carve it," added Big Sarah. After they left, Little Nell sat down next to the bumpy little pumpkin, and a tiny tear fell from her cheek, then another, and then another. Her friends, Reindeer, Hare, Bear Cub, came along. "What's wrong?" asked Bear Cub. Little Nell sniffled and snuffled. "Big Lizzie and Big Sarah think my pumpkin's too bumpy and too little and too ugly to make a good jack-o'-lantern." "I don't think it's too bumpy," said Bear Cub. "Or too little," said Reindeer. "Or too ugly," said Hare. "You don't?" asked Little Nell. "No," said the animals. "This pumpkin would make a great jack-o'-lantern," said the reindeer, "and we could help you carve it." "How?" asked Little Nell. "Like this," said Reindeer. He lowered his head and cut around and around and around until the top he carved a lid. "Ooh," said Little Nell, "that's perfect." "I can scoop out the inside," said Bear Cub. "How?" asked Little Nell. "Like this," said Bear Cub, and he clawed and pawed and pawed and clawed until there was nothing left but an empty pumpkin shell. "Oh, goody," said Little Nell. "Now for the face. How can we do that?" "Let's ask the birds to help," said Hare. So Little Nell whistled for the birds. Crow, cardinal, sparrow, they all flew down from the trees. "Could you make a face for my jack-o'-lantern?" asked Little Nell. "What kind of face?" asked Cardinal. With a finger, Little Nell etched and sketched and sketched and etched a face in the dirt. It had triangles for eyes, a square for a nose, and a smiley, lopsided mouth. Like this. So Crow, Cardinal, and Sparrow poked and pecked and pecked and poked until the pumpkin had a face. At last, the jack-o'-lantern was finished. Little Nell smiled, a tiny smile. I can't wait to show Big Mama, Big Sarah, and Big Lizzie. She picked it up and ran all the way to the house. What a beautiful jack-o'-lantern, said Big Mama. Where did you get it? From our pumpkin patch, said Little Nell. But who helped you carve it? Asked Big Sarah. My friends, Reindeer, Bear Cub, and Hare, said Little Nell. I still think it's a little bumpy and ugly, said Big Lizzie. Nonsense, said Big Mama. Jack-o'-lanterns come in all shapes and sizes. The girls placed their jack-o'-lanterns near their door, and Big Mama lit them. Mine's cool, said Big Sarah. Mine's even cooler, said Big Lizzie. They're all wonderful, said Big Mama. Even mine, said Little Nell. Even yours, said Big Mama. She leaned over and gave Little Nell a big, sloppy kiss. And Little Nell smiled. Happy Halloween. All right, boys and girls, I hope that you've either gone to a pumpkin patch or going to a pumpkin patch. Maybe you're picking out pumpkins to carve. But today you're going to take that construction paper that I gave you and you're going to make the most unique pumpkin you can make out of that construction paper. And then on Monday, maybe you can show us and we can show some of the ones that we made in class. Okay? I hope that you guys have a great weekend and I hope you have so much fun today making your pumpkin and doing IXL and reading with your flashlights in the dark. Don't forget to cut out your leaves and keep them home because we're going to do a poem and attach a poem to them. Okay? Bye guys. Have a great weekend.